sports. For up-to-date highlights, just stay tuned to Eagle 7. For music that will get you tapping to the beat and dancing from your seat, stay hooked to Eagle 7 Sports Radio 103.7 FM.
Good morning. This is 90 Minutes with Mathematical, coming to you live from the studios of Eagle 7 Sports Radio, Wasimi in Ogun State. I hope you are having a terrific time this morning. The weather here, and somehow, I've never experienced the sort of weather we have been going through in the past 2 weeks. And needless to say, it is dark, it is wet, it is cold. Nevertheless, we're going to have a terrific show this morning. The body of my bosom friend, my captain, my colleague in the 1980 Africa Cup of Nations squad, Chairman Christian Chukwu, will be laid to rest this morning in his village near Enugu. I pray that he will travel peacefully back to the bosom of our Creator in heaven. Amen. This morning, I'll be taking my editorial from the studios here because I came in pretty late from Enugu yesterday. And I couldn't do what I usually did. So I'll be taking that from here. You would find the editorial in several newspapers this morning. It's a potpourri of bits and pieces, different strokes for different folks, I said. You'll find it in the Vanguard, in the Guardian, Complete Sports Online, Niger Times Online. And you just have to hear it, listen to it. And in the course of my travel in the past couple of days, I met this young man whose song, has blown everywhere in Nigeria now, and maybe even beyond. I met him on the flight, and we took pictures, and he told me who he was, and that's when I recognized him. We'll be playing that wonderful song this morning. Probably I'll play it even twice just to tell you how much I enjoy the song and how humble this great artist is. Probably the biggest artist in Nigeria at the moment, or his biggest song, not the artist, biggest song, No Turning Back. Talking about Gaze Baba. We'll be playing that song this morning. But we'll start with our editorial. Remember, towards the end of the show, we have so many guests on the show this morning. We'll be able to take your call. The number is 0700 2255 1037. Last minute, my friend who is actually, following Chan very closely, right there, at the venues where Nigeria played that match that we shall be discussing this morning, is also joining us. I'm talking about barrister, journalist, Osasu Obayuana, who will be joining us this morning later in the show. So I'll just go straight away and take my editorial. And when we come back, I'll play that music, that Gaze song, No Turning Back. But just sit back and enjoy this editorial. In the past, first, the good news. Kawawa is back from the dead. 4 days ago, I heard the laughter and happy voice again of Kadiri Kana, MON, former soldier, ex-Bendel Insurance FC and ex-Green Eagles player, and one of the most successful football coaches in Nigeria's domestic football history. He has returned to good health, thank God, after several weeks of an ordeal that saw him go through hell, endless medical tests, minor surgeries and procedures, death scares and frightening periods in intensive care units in hospitals in Irua, Auchi, and Abuja. With the support of a few benevolent Nigerians, at costs running into tens of millions of naira, provided almost entirely by a Nigerian businessman that Kadiri Kana hardly knew before his ordeal started, Kawawa has come back from the dead. Good Samaritan businessman Peter Donia responded to a call for help by Harrison Jalla and volunteered to foot the entire medical bills of Kadiri's treatment in any specialist hospital anywhere in the world to complement the initial funding and logistics support provided by Kadiri's bosom friend, Austin Brahma. Fully now back on his feet and declared fit to return home, Kadiri has returned to his hotel room home in Auchi, where he is quietly recuperating, a happy man, relieved and grateful to the various doctors, nurses, family members, several Nigerians that reached out to him through me and volunteered to help, and several others that actually helped him during his health ordeal. A few days ago, I spoke to Kadiri Kana as soon as he landed Auchi. He's fine again and will be my guest one of these days on this radio program. That's it for Kadiri. I never knew until a few years ago that my colleague and teammate during the glory years of Shooting Stars FC in the mid-1970s was my senior by miles. I knew he was older, but I didn't think it was by 7 years or more. But last Saturday, Slow Poison, Idowu Otubushe, celebrated the 80th anniversary of the day of his birth. It was a massive celebration in Ibadan of the prince from the royal Otubushe family of Ijebu-Ode. We joined Shooting Stars FC at about the same time and won the first Continental Club Football Championship in Nigeria's history together in 1976. He was the central defender that pocketed Africa's deadliest striker at the time, Roger Miller of Tonnerre Kalala FC of Cameroon, during the 2 legs of the final matches in Ibadan and Yaoundé in December of 1976. For an 80-year-old retired footballer, Slow Poison, Idowu Otubushe, is surely doing well and looking good. A season of death. Lukman Oshun was a colleague. We played together for Shooting Stars towards the end of my playing days. He joined Shooting Stars from First Bank FC in Lagos and was a fringe player in the national team, the Green Eagles. He was very well known in the Lagos football scene of the 1980s, and he coached several clubs in the city when he retired. We were twin strikers in the finals of the 1984 African Club Championship in Lagos, when Shooting Stars failed to capitalize on home advantage to create history and to become the first club in Nigeria's story to win the Africa Club Championship. That match was against Zamalek FC of Egypt. Last week, Lukman died. He was in his 60s. On about the same day that Lukman passed on, another former player, newly appointed assistant coach for Shooting Stars FC, Akin Olowokere, suddenly slumped and died during a training session with his new team, that's Shooting Stars. The incident underlines the importance of training of all sports persons and personnel on the application of CPR during emergencies such as this. The Nigerian Heart Foundation ran a program for over 1,000 youths during the recent 2025 Youth Soccer Championship in Wasimi. It is an invaluable tool for all sports persons to have. That's the training to be able to deploy CPR. Akin was in his 50s. Funerals. Charles Bassey. A few days ago, my colleague in the 1980 African squad was laid to rest in Eket in Akwa Ibom State. Charles Bassey died a few hours after our captain, Chairman Christian Chukwu, passed on. I was in Enugu on Thursday and Friday, got back yesterday, to be a part of the week-long series of programs lined up by the government of Enugu State, friends, colleagues, and the family of Onyim. That's what I used to call him. My captain, my friend, and my colleague in the Green Eagles, Chairman Christian Chukwu. The special colloquium held at the Enugu Sports Club was a masterclass led by an erudite scholar and a great orator, Professor Chidi Dim Kalu. Speaker after speaker walked onto the podium and regaled the audience with stories of heroism and a vision about Rangers International FC and the incomparable role of Christian Chukwu in shaping the reintegration of the Igbo into mainstream life after the Nigerian Civil War in 1970. Tributes for the great legend poured down like rain as I sat listening and missing one of my own heroes as a football model. Chairman will be laid to rest today in his village near Enugu. The big knock for Nigerian football. Last weekend was a dark period for domestic Nigerian football and its administrators. I did not know what to make of the disastrous performance of the home-based Eagles against Sudan during CHAN 2024. It was simply inconceivable that a team assembled from the Nigerian Professional League, much touted as one of the best in Africa, with players being promoted by some media as good enough for the Super Eagles, and being coached by the newly appointed manager of African descent in a match coming shortly after the federal government demonstrated unprecedented will to reward successful national teams with mind-boggling honors and gifts. Such a thing could suddenly slump so badly and lose by 4-0 to, of all teams, Sudan. So what? It is amongst Nigeria's worst and most humiliating defeats in history. And Nigerians are not letting it just go without expressing their anger. Even my childhood friend, Yakubu, usually a reticent man that hates to raise his voice above a whisper on most matters, could not hold back his disappointment on our private platform. This is Yakubu, I quote, "When we complained about the emptiness and bankruptcy of NFF's decision to hire the man from Mali as coach, their supporters accused us of crying wolf where there was none. They also called us apostles of doom, well versed in theoretical and performative rhetorics. In CHAN, we are already out, courtesy of the 4-0 drubbing by Sudan. Yes, Sudan. From all indications, no 2026 World Cup for Nigeria. Now, wow, no Naira reign also for the home-based Eagles. I have no comments to add. This past week has been a matter of different strokes for different folks. Different things, good and bad, happening to different people in this unscripted drama of life in sport. Having said, I will now take that song. No turning back.